So now let's animate the letters. But first of all, zoom in the timeline until you see the 5 frames here. Okay? Then I want to make sure that there is nothing in the screen until the 5 frame. I think that will be nice for the animation. So select all these groups and layers, hold shift and select the 3 of them, and drag them to that moment where 5 frame, as you can see here. Okay? Fantastic. Then just select the group of letters, then open the group to see all the letters, and open the group also in the timeline to see all the letters. Okay? Now before animate any of these letters, we need to enable the transform option, because now we have the position only. To do that, just right click at the A letter and convert it to a smart object. So you can see now the transform option is there. Each animation will happen during 10 frames. To add the animation, add a transform keyframe here, then after 10 frames, now this is 5 frames to 10 and another 5 to 15. Okay, so this is 10 frames. The animation will happen between these two keyframes. Now at the first keyframe, press Ctrl T and just, so it may be better if you zoom in the workspace using Ctrl plus. Okay, hold space to move around, and now move the reference point to the left side here and squeeze the letter A like that. Okay, so what will happen during that time, the letter A will appear like this. Now I want to add some physics effects, and drag that keyframe back, and that will make the animation fast first, then slow down before stopping. Now the second letter will start animating at 10 frame, at the half animation for the first letter. At that point, the second letter will start animating. So just drag the letter D to that point. Okay, and let's do the same thing for the letter D. Convert it first of all to a smart object. From here, right click and convert it to a smart object. Then open the animation options, add a transform keyframe, then again after 10 frames, add another one. At the first keyframe, press Ctrl T, make the reference point to the left side, and just squeeze the letter D, like that. So it will pop out during that time. Then add the normal physics effects by adding a keyframe here and drag that keyframe back. Then just repeat this process. At the half animation of the second letter, the I letter will start animating. So just drag the I letter to that point. Convert it to a smart object. Add a transform keyframe at the beginning of the letter, then after 10 frames, at 25 frame, just add another keyframe. Now at the first keyframe, press Ctrl T and move the reference point to upper corner this time. Then just squeeze the letter I to that point. The letter will have the animation to downward direction this time. Now add the physics effects by adding a keyframe here and drag that keyframe back. Do the same thing for the letter D. So at 20 frame here, the letter D2 will start animating. So just drag it to that point, convert it to a smart object, open the animation options, add a transform keyframe, then after 10 frames, just about 1 second, add another keyframe. Then at the first keyframe, do the same thing, Ctrl T, move the reference point to here and squeeze the letter like that. Okay, Fantastic. Now add the physics effects. Then move the inductor to 20 frame, the half animation for the letter D, and move the letter A to that point. Convert it to a smart object. Of course, now you know all the steps. Transform keyframe here, then after 10 frames, add another one. So this is 5 frames to 1 second, another 5 to 5 frame. Okay, so the total is 10. So at the first keyframe, press Ctrl T, move the reference point to here, then just squeeze the letter A. Fantastic. Add the physics effect by adding a keyframe here and drag that keyframe back. Then again, add the half animation of the letter A, drag the letter S to that point, convert it to a smart object, add a transform keyframe, then after 10 frames, add another one. Then at the first keyframe here, press Ctrl T, then drag the reference point to the left side, then squeeze the letter S, like that. Add a keyframe here and drag that keyframe back. Okay, so now let's see the animation. I will zoom out in the timeline, move the inductor to the first point, press Ctrl 0 to get back to the full screen on the workspace. So this is the animation we need for the letters. In the next lecture, we will animate these shapes and the R logo there. So thank you for watching and see you in the next lecture.